I wonder if my dog has superpowers. Like, like Ulysses, he was a squirrel that could fly. But maybe my dog could, know when the credits are rolling.
Nothing quite piques my interest like a surprise movie drop. And Disney Plus did just that. Today we are reviewing Flora and Ulysses, an unusual, comical, and unexpected superhero movie that breaks a few rules. When I first read the premise for this movie, I expected it to be a live-action Squirrel Girl origin story. And while it definitely was not that, it really wanted to be. Which is confusing because Disney owns the Squirrel Girl character. Regardless, it stands on its own as a comedic family film that is leagues better than We Can Be Heroes.
When I first heard of Flora and Ulysses, I thought it was probably a response to the We Could Be Heroes that Netflix did to try to compete with Pixar's Soul. And it was kind of like Disney Plus was going, hold my beer, let me show you how it's done. The thing about Flora and Ulysses is it is the story about a girl whose parents are separated at the time we're introduced to all of them. Her father is a failed comic book writer, and her mother is a struggling romance novelist. And, of course, she has a love for her comics. But it doesn't seem like that. She claims the entire time that she is, as what one would call a realist, a critic, somebody who, like us, just doesn't hope for the best, but, just analyzes what's seen. So, that's interesting. And then so basically what happens is a crazy series of events where there's a vacuum that decides to suck a squirrel inside of it, because that's how smart vacuums work. The squirrel gets taken out, and Flora performs CPR and names the squirrel Ulysses. Now, we don't really see this squirrel having superpowers in the very beginning until he starts reading comic books and writing poetry on a typewriter that the mother bought. And of course, this ensues all sorts of hilarity as far as the squirrel always causing wanton amounts of destruction. Now, that's kind of on par for a superhero movie, though. I guess Disney Plus really did want to hit all the check marks because they destroy a donut shop, they destroy a whole bunch of stuff, animal control's after them. The classic superhero movie vibes, you still get them from this movie, but almost in a comedic sense. Of course, the father's involved in this, and the squirrel kind of revitalizes the love life between him and the mother, as well as, re-sparks his imagination and what can be done with it. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't issues with the film.
There is an egregious error in Flora and Ulysses, and it needs to be addressed. Near the end of the movie, for whatever reason, they decided to have the blind kid get his sight back. It isn't explained. It was a deliberate decision, and it just happened. No explanation. The whole movie goes by with the only supernatural thing being the superhero squirrel. They make it very clear that this takes place in the real world and not in the comic books, as they've stated multiple times throughout the movie. And yet, as far as we can tell, the only reason that this kid needed to see is so that he can run around this building without being attached to another character. He could have just stayed outside and everything would have been fine. But no. They had to discredit the entire movie because they cured blindness without any explanation. Additionally, the damage caused by this family would attract the attention of much more than just animal control. The local authorities and even possibly the FBI would begin to investigate the claims of a superpowered squirrel running around. That is, assuming there is even a magical squirrel. Fan theories aside, destruction is used as a comedic tool to great effect. Some of the funniest scenes in this movie are when someone, usually the squirrel, unintentionally utterly destroys something. Considering that superheroes often unintentionally destroy things, this is actually pretty realistic. What isn't realistic is how the characters react to the utter destruction. Should we let the squirrel stay in the house after breaking the chandelier, and the kitchen table, and the window? Sure! Sounds like a great idea! Flora and Ulysses is a laugh-out-loud superhero comedy with more than enough for both adults and children to enjoy. While we didn't love everything, we loved watching this movie, and had we seen it in theaters, we would not have been disappointed. For these reasons, and all those noted previously, we rate Flora and Ulysses a 6 out of 10.
If you've got a movie you want us to review, please let us know. Let us know in the comments or reach out to us on any of our social media links, which can be found in the link tree in the description below. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, and also, if you're really generous, hit us up on Patreon, where you can guarantee your movie will get prioritized and reviewed. And we will see you the next time the credits roll.